Well, with the Madden curse now leading over the 49ers, now there is a lot, and I mean a lot, of concern for the 49ers. So let's rock, and I'll explain. All right, what's going on, guys? My name's Antonio, and welcome back to the All Around Sports Podcast. Today, I am going over the 49ers because of the recent news that we just heard a few days ago. Christian McCaffrey, the running back for the 49ers, has officially been put onto the Madden 25 cover, which we all know is the Madden curse. And we all know that the Madden curse has hit a few times before. Like the most notable one in the last few years in 2020 when Mahomes was the cover in 2020. And he ended up making the Super Bowl, but not even scoring a single touchdown in the blowout fashion to the GOAT, which is Tom Brady. But the question is, can the Niners win the Super Bowl this season with the Madden curse leaning over their shoulders? But just as a heads up, I am a Seahawks fan, as you can probably tell. I am a Hawks fan, as you all can tell. I mean, you could see me rocking the gear. I go over every single NFL franchise. So just to note, I go over all the NFL teams, NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball, because that's why I'm called All Around Sports for crying out loud. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, please make sure to hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. But for now, let's get this discussion underway. All right, so the Niners, I mean, I do expect them to make another push for next season. I do expect it. And it's not like the Niners are not one of the contenders because obviously they are one of the Super Bowl contenders, which were the number one team according to Football Power Index. I had a little rant on that a few videos ago. But the 49ers have not made won a Super Bowl in over 30 years now. But there is one pressing concern, the Madden curse. Because we all know that the Madden curse has hit one way or another. Because we've seen this Madden curse hit a few times. The most recent one was Josh Allen. And look what happened to them this season. Looked all of a sudden like a good team, and then obviously got ousted in the wild card round to the Kansas City Chiefs that beat y'all in the Super Bowl, by the way. But the 49ers, I mean, after they lost in the Super Bowl again, there is now, I believe there is a smidge bit of concern. I'm not saying there's a lot, but there is a smidge bit of concern because the Niners, the last two times they've been Super Bowl runner ups, in 2013 when they were the Super Bowl runner-up to the Baltimore Ravens. They ended up making the NFC Championship game against the Seahawks, which ended up beating them in the most famous post-game speech that we've heard in recent memory, but of course by Richard Sherman with the Micah Crabtree beef. And then the second one, the most recent one, was 2019 after they also lost to the Kansas City Chiefs, which was under Kyle Shanahan. The 40 they went on to have a losing season because of a load of injuries, having injuries to like Richard Sherman, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner. Loads of guys on their roster were just hurt and ultimately gifted the division to the Seahawks both times. Not that I'm saying it's going to happen. Not that I'm saying it's going to happen because I'm a realistic fan. I'm not crazy trying to smash TVs and delusional like Cowboy fans. But anyways, I just had to put that troll in there because, as we all know, none of us can stand the Dallas Cowboys. But anyways, I do believe the Niners are going to be back in the race this season, but it's solely going to come down to the health because last time, as I mentioned, in 2019 through 2020, they went to the Super Bowl, lost, and ended up having a losing season due to injuries. Not that I'm saying it's going to happen again, but the Madden curse is now in effect, and we all know what that does. But this Niners team, I do believe, is still a contender for a Super Bowl title because not only do they have to go against teams in the NFC, which is probably the easiest conference, you also have an easy path. You got to go against a few teams in the regular season, which are pretty high note games, like the Bills, the Dolphins, the Lions, the Packers, and also along with Tampa Bay that may or may not upset you. I'm not sure. And then most notably the Jets in Week 1 against the bad man Aaron Rodgers. But the 49ers must win a Super Bowl this season. They must in order to keep Kyle Shanahan in office. They must. Because Kyle Shanahan has been in the Super Bowl 3 times now. One as an OC in Atlanta, two as a head coach in San Francisco. The first time he went there was the OC in Atlanta, which they gave up the 28-3 lead, which we all know of to this day as the biggest choke in Super Bowl history. Then, Super Bowl 54, you had a 10-point lead with 7 minutes to go in Super Bowl 54. You gave that up, and then most recent one was the most recent Super Bowl. You had a 10-point lead to start the half, and then you ultimately choked it in overtime. Only the second overtime game to happen in Super Bowl history. But I'm not hating on the Niners at all. I'm not hating on them. I do want them eventually to win a Super Bowl to put an end to their drought because my grandma's a Niners fan. My grandma is a 49ers fan. I eventually want that drought to end. But every year it seems like they get so far and only to choke every single time because from what I've been told by a Niners fan, and remember, this is a diehard Niners fan that I have talked to. He has said in his words that the 49ers fan base, the 49ers franchise is straight up cursed. And I'm actually starting to believe him because the Niners have been there 3 times in the last 30 years. How many of those times did they come back with it? 0. And I'm not throwing any shade on the Niners. I do respect them. But you must win a Super Bowl this year. It is an absolute must to keep Kyle Shanahan in office. You must win it because you cannot have the most talented roster in the NFL last season to eventually go on to the next season and choke midway through the playoffs or maybe not even make the playoffs at all. Not that I'm saying that's going to happen, but you cannot have the most talented roster in the National Football League with Chase Young, Nick Bosa, Eric Armstead, Fred Warner, Jeremy Ward, CMC, Brandon Ayuk, Debo Samuel, George Kittle, and Brock Purdy. You cannot have all those guys and not win the Super Bowl. I was actually rooting for you. I was actually rooting for the 49ers. But at the same time, I could not see it against Kansas City, who you have not even recorded a win against. I could not see it. I could not see it happening because Kyle Shanahan has that habit of giving up 10-point leads in the big games. He has had that habit. Unless he breaks that habit, one thing will stay the same, and the Niners won't win a Super Bowl. Not that I'm throwing any shade, just saying that if you go to the Super Bowl next year or make the playoffs, if you choke in the playoffs, if you lose, we're going to call the season a failure because you are a Super Bowl or bust team in the NFL, just like the Cowboys. We never let you off the hook because you had the most talented roster last year and you couldn't do it. If you all can't win next season, Kyle Shanahan has got to go. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Do you think the Niners can make it back? But anyways, that's my video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to hit that like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. I'll catch you all in the next one. Ciao for now.